Oh boy, Week 10 brought the fireworks from the very beginning here on Sunday. Welcome to Game Day Recap. I'm Haley Sutton, taking a look at our Sunday scores here in Week 10. It's hard to believe we've crossed over the halfway point. The Colts certainly set the tone in overtime overseas in Germany today. They get the win over the Falcons. The big stunner of the day, South Florida was popping as the Dolphins take down the Bills. My goodness, Pete Prisco's got a lot to say about that matchup. Of course, there were a couple of games that went down to the wire. How about the Patriots? So many storylines we're following. And when it comes to the storylines, how about this guy? Drake Maye has certainly been electric. A lot of people were concerned if he was going to be able to take that second-year leap, but certainly, like I mentioned, fireworks now in the conversation for MVP, leading that conversation. Let's talk about it here. Week 10 on Game Day Recap. You know the normal casting crew. We got our guy Pete Prisco in the house. Heavy emphasis on the Pete Prisco.
Got it right tonight.
This week. I did. I went back and watched it. I was like, what did I say?
I gotta say, I was in Stanford. I was watching, and my first thought was, who the hell is Pete Prisco? Who is that guy?
It was close.
It was close. It was close. My personal nickname for you. We got Damien Harris, of course, back in business. He was hanging out in New York and Connecticut. Thanks so much for being back with us down here.
I thank y'all for allowing me to come back. That's all I'm happy about.
Okay, so we get a lot of flack because we're very offensive heavy on our set. We've got our two running backs. Normally, Rand Carthon is sitting with us. We've got our offensive lineman and Pete Prisco. So we thought we'd balance it up a little bit here. We have got a linebacker, a very special treat. Well, I call you a linebacker, but I asked you before what position you played, and you said basically everything.
Yeah.
We've got Jason Cabinda in the house with us, hanging out on Game Day Recap. Jason, welcome in.
Appreciate y'all having me on. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to fit right in. I can already tell.
Core four. He's a core four.
Yeah.
Were you?
Hey, no. Hey, I'll say it. He was different. He might have been tougher than me because let me tell y'all something. Y'all listening at home. To sign up to play linebacker, and they say, you know what, coach, let me go play some fullback. Matter of fact, line me up in a wide wing so I can play a little bit of tight end. By the way, I'll play a little bit of running back too. Hey, if you need a tackle, I can do that too. Like, this is a different type of guy right here. I was not in that conversation whatsoever.
6-year NFL veteran, bringing a lot of that defensive mind, but also just a lot of good vibes here. Jason, we are excited to have you. Let's start our conversation up in Foxborough because, boy, oh boy, those Patriots. I said it last week. You weren't here, but in the offseason, I was very loud about this Patriots team being a playoff team. They are not only squarely in that conversation, you guys, but they're top of the AFC East at this point. Jason, I'll give you first word here because there's a lot of different directions we could take it. We could talk about the quarterback. We could talk about the division race. What stands out to you about what the Patriots are doing right now?
Yeah, I think right now they're just playing with a lot of belief in their coach. I mean, when you look at Drake Maye, the way he's leading this team, I think the biggest jump from last year to this year is he's hitting on those big shots. He's making the offense very explosive compared to how it was last year. I think the deep shot accuracy is there. I think even defensively, what they're able to do to Tampa Bay today, they made Baker deal with the blitz all day long. He was never really had his feet comfortable and set. Obviously, they're missing some receivers and things of that nature on the offensive side of the ball, but they really had him panicked. That's what I thought was the biggest thing, the biggest improvement in this team today.
For me, I'm going to go down the whole list. I know you just said we can take this conversation a lot of different ways, so I'm going to do just that, starting with the Patriots, right? We've talked about this team, and a lot of people have questioned their schedule. When there are two litmus tests, they take down the Buccaneers, one of the best teams in the NFC. They beat the Buffalo Bills in prime time in Orchard Park. Drake Maye beat Josh Allen at his own game. Again, Stephon Diggs played like a madman in that game. So I don't want to hear about this schedule anymore because they are beating the good teams too. So the rest of the schedule does not matter. In those two litmus test games, Drake Maye is 38 for 61, almost 600 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 1 interception. By the way, that game I mentioned in Buffalo, he led a 2-minute drive to go and win the football game. Then you want to talk about the rookies, Travion Henderson, Kyle Williams, 2 guys that a lot of people were concerned about. We haven't seen them pop on the scene yet. We haven't seen that explosiveness come to the offense from those 2 young guys. Well, guess what? First pair of rookies since 2001 to have a pair of touchdowns over 50 yards. You think people are excited about that? And then just to wrap it up, the defense. I mean, yeah, they gave up a 50-yard rusher today, but it was only by 3 yards. 53 yards. That is the most rushing yards they have given up all season long, from top to bottom, offensively, defensively, special teams, and starting with the head coach. This football team is ready to make a deep playoff run.
You're going to be allowed back in the building now.
Key card's gonna work.
He's going to have all kinds of pom-poms going for his whole team, don't you? That was good. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The money spent on the defensive side of the ball has been well spent. I mean, they had 6 sacks today. You talked about the blitz. They got after the quarterback. But more than that, you look at their secondary. When you had Carlton Davis, Marcus Jones can now play inside on a permanent basis, and you have Christian Gonzalez, you can lock up any team in the league man-to-man. And that allows you to pressure the quarterback and get after him with all those blitzes you saw today. So I think that's the best addition. Milton Williams getting after the quarterback, big inside. Spillane's been big on the defense. They spent money on defense. Mike Vrabel knows what he wants on defense, and they seem to have fixed that.
Let me ask you about Mike Vrabel, because we've talked a lot about coaches in the NFL and their job security, but for Vrabel, this really stood out to me. He is now tied for the best start by a head coach taking over a team that had 13 losses the year before. Are we giving Vrabel enough credit for the job that he has done with this Patriots team in year 1, Pete?
No, well, he's had success elsewhere. By the way, it's coach and quarterback. When you have those two in sync, you're going to win. Period. You can fix everything else around them. If you have a great coach and a great quarterback, you are going to win games in this league. It's the old tried and true formula that's been going on for years and years and years. They have a great coach now, and they have a great quarterback on his way to being a really, truly special quarterback. So you're going to win a lot of games that way. Maybe Belichick was the problem in New England after all. You gonna say it? You gonna say it?
You agree? You disagree? No comment? You pleading the fifth like our guy Rand Carthen? What do you think?
I plead the fifth.
Well, I'll say it.
Well, no, hold on.
Wait.
Before I'm gonna give you the floor back. I have made comments previously that indicate what my answer would be. I don't need to say it anymore. Now, proceed.
Okay, Bill Belichick, the head coach, was undone by Bill Belichick, the general manager. Bill Belichick, if he's just the head coach, he'd still be there. The problem was he also was the general manager, and if you look at his drafts over the years, that roster became bad, and he's the reason why, and that's why he ultimately got fired as a coach.
Hell, I was a part of some of them draft classes that people be getting on Bill Belichick about. I was one of the guys.
Personal accountability.
Hey, listen. Hey,
F.
Right. Jason, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the quarterback in Drake Maye and what he has been able to do. This Patriots team, I mentioned it, they have not been very good over the course of the last few years. They're now riding a 7-game win streak, which is the longest in the NFL. And you got to point a lot to what Drake Maye has been able to do. I got his numbers in front of me. He's completing over 71% of his passes. He now has 5 consecutive games with 2 or more passing touchdowns, 19 total passing touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. I could go on and on here. What are you seeing out of Drake Maye every week that, I guess, has this conversation evolving each and every week?
Yeah, well, I think right now, when I watch his game, it's really the decisiveness that I see out of him. He knows exactly when to get out of something, when to use his legs, when to extend plays, when to throw it away. Like, he's making all of the right decisions. I think when you play quarterback, it's not all about just, like, making the great throw. It's also managing the game. It's also knowing when to cut your losses. It's also knowing when to just take what the defense is giving you. And those little decisions compounding over through the entire game, I think you're seeing the result of offense coming alive. Obviously, they found out today they had a hell of a talent, and the rookie quarterback in Trayvon Henderson that they got in the second round. We saw him go off for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns today. That's going to help no matter what. When you got the run game going, when you got a guy as explosive, as fast as he is, that got that big play ability, that makes the shots that much more believable. And we're seeing Drake Maye be more consistent and accurate on those deep shots.
You know the thing about Drake Maye is? You know what he is? He's like Phillip Rivers. Oh, shucks. He's an all shucks guy off, and then he's a killer when he gets on the field. Phillip Rivers was a certified killer when he got on the field, but he might have been the nicest guy. I once told him that. I said, I talk to guys around the league all the time. You know what they say about you, Phillip? They say you're the nicest guy in the world off the field and the biggest idiot on the field. And he looked at it and he goes, I'll take that. And that's what Drake Maye is. In fact, during the draft process, Drake Maye worked out with Phillip Rivers, and a lot of the guys in the evaluation said, he's trying to sound like Phillip Rivers. And the reality is, that's who he is. He's a killer on the field and a nice guy off.
Yeah.
I know it's a small sample size. Which quarterback would you rather have, Phillip Rivers or Drake Maye? Again, I know
right now it's Phillip Rivers. I mean, he's got a ways to go to get to Phillip Rivers.
He's got a long way to go. I want to echo and piggyback off of both of these guys because I agree with both of your points. I think another thing that we don't talk about enough with Drake Maye is he has such a short memory. Good play, bad play. He always is just worried about the next play. He's turned the ball over. I mean, he had a turnover. He threw the ball away today to the other team. He flushed it immediately, went out, threw a touchdown. He rights his wrongs. And again, whenever he does have a play that's successful, short memory, he's moving on to the next play because he always always knows it's just about what's next. It's not about this play, the play that just happened. It's about what's next. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it moving and going forward.
They are exciting. Real quick, want to pivot to the other side of this one, the Bucs. We kind of expected them to come out of that bye week, still kind of banged up in terms of their roster there. Pete, what did you think about the Bucs today?
Yeah, they didn't play as well as they normally do, and I think that, look, this was a big game for them, too. They're getting some guys back. They're still not healthy, and once they get guys back all the way healthy, that offense is going to be dynamic. But now, having said that, they got a turnaround this week. You know where they go this week? To play the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. That's going to be a tough game for them. So I still like where they are. Look at the division. Come on. Carolina lost today. Atlanta lost today. And New Orleans isn't very good. They're still going to win the division. But I think they were looking at the 1 seed, and now the 1 seed's kind of starting to fade away a little bit.
Any concerns with the Bucs?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I, love Baker Mayfield and the toughness and the grit that he brings to the offense, I really think that Bucky Irving, that edge that they have in the running game when Bucky's on that field, they just come different offensively. I love Rachaad White as well, but I think that element was missing. Obviously, the receiver room was banged up. You got guys like Tez Johnson. I mean, Emeka Egbuka is a superstar.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is the real deal, big, fast, strong hands at the catch point. He's got the yak potential, all those kinds of things. So I think they're going to continue building, and they'll go as far as Baker goes. It's just they got to get healthy right now. Obviously, the loss of guys like Chris Godwin, it's tough. Mike Evans, these guys are guys who have been staples in this offense for years. So hopefully they can find a way to find that production elsewhere.
Patriots and Bucs combined for 6 touchdowns by rookies today in that game. So shout out to the rookies standing tall there. All right, got to hit a break here on Game Day Recap. When we come back, we are headed to the wild NFC West, where things at the top of that division continue to heat up. We will break it down next on Game Day Recap. Welcome back to Game Day Recap. Certainly an exciting late window if you're a fan of the NFC West. The Seahawks behind Sam Darnold, boy, they have been a lot of fun. They put up 44 on the Cardinals as they moved to 7-2 on the season. And then we also saw the Rams and the 49ers go head-to-head. The Rams with Matthew Stafford as quarterback have certainly been cooking. This is going to be very interesting come week 15, week 16 even, when the playoff picture starts getting clearer and clearer. Curious to see how many of these teams will get in. Let's talk about the NFC West with our crew here on Game Day Recap. Fellas, let's start with the Rams getting that big win over the 49ers. And I know the 49ers kind of haven't been themselves this year. They're still dealing with the injuries, but they have been pretty surprising to this point. Damien, I'll come to you first here. What stands out to you most about the Rams getting the win today? Matthew
Stafford. I mean, he has played himself into MVP conversation. I mean, he's right there with Drake Maye. And at the stage of his career that he's at, it looks like he's having more fun. It looks like he's more confident. It looks like the relationship that he has with McVay is such an integral piece to what they do on offense and ultimately results to the success of their team. So the way that Matthew Stafford is delivering the ball, obviously when you've got guys that throw to like Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, I mean even Blake Corum and Kyron Williams. I was blanking on his name, but
I was with you.
Yeah, we were locked in. But even using your backs in the passing game, like there are a lot of elements of this LA Rams team that benefit Matthew Stafford, but also in retrospect, his age, his experience, the fact he's won a Super Bowl, it makes this team better. And again, that relational piece that he has with McVay is imperative to their success as a team.
He honestly has like a LeBron effect. I played with Staff when I was in Detroit. Like, he's one of those players, one of those quarterbacks that makes everyone around him better. And the way he places the ball and the way that he's like a coach on the field when he's out there. Like, there are very, very few times and situations when I watch his team play where pre-snap, Stafford doesn't know what is going on, where he wants to go to with the football, or at least what part of the field he wants to attack. And I think just having that as your base point, as your start, and then you pair a guy like that up with Sean McVay, I mean, the results, it can be endless, And I think what he's doing at this stage of his career, like you mentioned, at this stage, he can't really run that much anymore and things of that nature. But he manages the game perfectly well. He puts the ball exactly where it's supposed to be. He never puts the offense behind schedule and things of that nature. Like, that's how you take care of the team. That's how you take care of the offense. That's how you win games at the end of the day. So shout out to Matt Stafford.
And they do a great job of scheming stuff around him and his ability to make plays. Look, they're not fast. This is not a fast team. You look at their roster, and I think that ultimately could be a problem down the road. They don't have anybody that scares you down the field. Nacua is great. And Devontae Adams, they're great, but they're not fast guys. The running backs, they're not fast. They're good backs, but they're not fast. So I think that could be a problem down the road. But Sean McVay and Matt Stafford do such a great job of scheming things open. You saw the one throw he made to the tight end. we could have made that throw. The guy was wide open, and he just does a great job of sneaking the tight end out. You saw it. You saw the play. You called it right then. It's a favorite play. They leak out the tight end across the formation, and it's a touchdown. And a couple weeks ago against Jacksonville, he was down. He didn't have Nakua. So what did he do? He threw 5 touchdown passes to 5 different guys. That's what he does. He spreads the ball around. And I think McVay is so good. I said this when we were watching the games. Their offensive line, to a man, if you took it and put it on another team, probably wouldn't be as good. But in that scheme and the way they scheme it up, they make it easier on them, and that line is now good. And they can protect them, and they can run the ball. And everything about that Rams offense is going to be tough unless the lack of speed shows up down the road. Tutu Atwell has speed. They don't use him, but that's the only guy.
That's your boy. You're always talking about Tutu Atwell and that speed.
Get him the ball.
The Rams are on a 4-game win streak, by the way, and each of those 4 games they've won by 14 or more points. So it feels like they are starting to click in the right time. Devontae Adams is coming alive. Just kind of a lot of older dudes out there really getting it done for the Rams. Let's talk about the Seahawks, though. Kind of the opposite problem in Seattle. You've got the young guys really stepping up to the plate. We had that scare with JSN, a little concussion scare there, but he came back. Are we talking enough about how dominant the Seattle team has been over the last, 3 or 4 weeks?
No. And in fact, they might be the best team in the league right now. I was talking to a guy 3 weeks ago, and he said to me, he goes, Seattle's going to end up being the best team in the league. And I said, why would you say that? He goes, look at their defensive front. And, the calling card, everybody always talked about the Legion of Boom back in the day, and they were great in the back end. But the calling card of those teams were Cliff Averill, Michael Bennett, and those guys getting after the quarterback. Well, this group gets after the quarterback. I mean, Byron Murphy might be playing as good as any defensive tackle in the league, and they can come at you in waves. And you saw it. They turned the ball over. DeMarcus Lawrence had 2 touchdowns today. They didn't even need Sam Darnold to do anything today. I mean, he actually made mistakes today. And so the bottom line is, why are they good? They will throw the ball down the field. He came into this week averaging 9.6 per attempt. They're one of the few teams in the league that drive the ball down the field, and they can get after the quarterback. And when you play with a lead, you turn those pass rushers loose. That's a great combination.
And they can run the football on top of that. I mean, come on, let's give some love to guys.
They haven't been running it that well.
Well, they haven't, but they did today. I mean, when you look at Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, they combined for 150 yards total. And Kenneth Walker is a guy that we kind of buried a little bit, and we were wondering, where was he at? I mean, he popped on the scene fresh early in his career, but then it's kind of started to lull a little bit. Well, he's stepping back on the scene. He's bringing Charbonnet with him. And again, when you talk about resources for Sam Darnold, it is that defense, and it is the ability to run the football, play action off of it, and open up lanes in the passing game for Sam Darnold.
I was trying to get the standings pulled up here. Seahawks and Rams are the 2 teams in all of the NFL that rank top 5 in points per game as well as opponent points per game. So that tells me that they're getting it done on both sides of the ball here. Which team do you see separating themselves? The Seahawks
well, we'll know next
or the
week.
Rams?
They play each other next week.
Okay.
They're the 2 best. Right now, they're the 2 best teams in the league, in my mind. And, whoa, where are you going? Aside from being a homer, where are you going?
Well, no. I mean, I'm thinking, though, because when I think about, the Seahawks, by far and away, I think are the best team in the NFL. Would I put the Rams in that conversation? I'm not sure yet. But again, that's why the games
What's
are
your
played.
hesitation?
I got to see him play.
Okay.
I want to watch him play.
Okay.
I want to watch him play. When I look at the dominance of Seattle in the games that they've played, I don't think the Rams have dominated their games that they've won in the same style, the same format. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong, like we're talking about Matthew Stafford, he's in the MVP conversation, but they just haven't dominated teams the way that the Seattle Seahawks have.
Yeah, I think you said it really. They're playing a style of football that you like late in the season. Like the way they're playing in terms of the run game, in terms of the physicality, in terms of defensively limiting big plays. I mean, you saw today, I think Trey McBride had 130 yards receiving. Their receivers, I don't think they had one over 60 yards.
Nope.
So, like, they're limiting the big plays and the shots and things of that nature, and then they get after you in terms of the defensive line, the sacks, the pressures. Those types of things are there. Physically, they're built that way to last up front in the trenches, and I think that's really what matters the most. And then you talk about Sam Darnold and JSN, maybe the best quarterback wide receiver duo this year right now. There's a lot to love about this team. We saw what Darnold was able to do in Minnesota, and now bringing his style of football and his game over here. Clearly, his story is not done written. I think this team has a lot of high hopes for a great year this year.
Is this an MVP in Sam Darnold, do you think?
Candidate, absolutely. I think it's time we give him his respect. Absolutely.
Okay.
Today didn't help him, though. He didn't put up any big numbers today. So
Wasn't good enough for you?
No. I mean, he didn't have to.
Yeah, he did. But he's been doing it this whole entire year.
He's been great. He's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Next week, the game between those two, that'll tell you who the best team in the league is.
All right, we'll keep our eye on it. Like Pete said, we are looking forward to seeing those teams clash. But boy, the NFC West has been a lot of fun. All right, got to hit a break here on Game Day Recap. Still plenty to talk about, though, here on this Sunday. What happened to the Buffalo Bills? Boy, they came down to South Florida and left with the biggest L in recent history. We'll talk about it next on Game Day Recap.
We're like, why is this happening? That's why. Because you become a special version of yourself. I'm so proud of you guys. Some cold-blooded guys. This is the whole point. Enjoy this one, guys, because you earned every inch.
That's how you play fucking football, bro. When we play company football on all levels, bro, I don't think no team in the NFL really can. They can't. They can't, y'all see the shit you put in week in, week out, bro. And that's how you go out there and make that.
Hey, yo.
Like you hurt.
Hang on 3, 1, 2, 3.
We had to show you like all 2.5 minutes of that celebration because boy, do the Dolphins deserve it. I will say that there were reports earlier, guys, that they took the Papa shot out of the locker room. They got rid of all the distractions. So that's kind of why they're rolling around in the laundry baskets out there because they are lit, but good reason. Josh Allen said after this game, by the way, this was a blowout, 30-13 in favor of the Dolphins. Josh Allen said after the game, it just seemed like the Dolphins they wanted it more. They came out and they fought. You heard Mike McDaniel and the emotions that's gone into this. Pete, I want to come to you first here. Were you surprised that the Dolphins were able to win the way they did today? They got so big.
Look, and we talked about this up at the green room, and I mentioned it to both of you. When these teams win games and put so much into the emotion of trying to win a game, like the Bills did last week against the Chiefs are their prove-it game. And then you go out on the road against a team that you're supposed to beat, one that Josh Allen, by the way, has owned in his career, and you don't play well, and all of a sudden you look up and you're down and you can't get out from underneath it, that's a problem. We've seen Green Bay did it. Green Bay did it last week, losing at home to Carolina. So I'm just curious, and I asked this question to players all throughout the years. What in the hell happens? How do you go from being that high to that low?
Yeah, I think you don't, as a regular fan, maybe you don't realize just how much emotion you have to conjure to really play this game at the level that you need to play it with the spirit that you need to play it with. And I think, when you look at a game like the Bills-Chiefs and, all of the narratives around it, you have people's legacies on the line. One can beat them in the regular season, the one can't beat them in the postseason. All of these things, it can be very draining. And when you go out there and you have the result that you want, it's hard to come in that next week and fully hit that reset button. And that type of thing, when it happens on the field, I blame the coaches because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It's the coaches. You have to be able to frame the mindset of your team. You got to have your hand on the heartbeat and the temperature of your team at all times and where they're at mentally, emotionally, things of that nature. If you can't catch those things early in the week, you'll see a result like this. So, yes, I do think emotionally, if you can't reset and go back to zero, enjoy the win for that 24 hours, reset and get back to work, it is hard to go out there and do it on a consistent weekly basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And as being somebody who was a part of this Buffalo Bills organization, I can tell you guys, the Chiefs, that's not their prove-it game. That's their Super Bowl because that's the team that has stopped them from getting to the Super Bowl and maybe winning a Super Bowl year after year after year. So to your point, this is a team that has so much talent. When you look at Josh Allen, when you look at James Cook, you look at this offensive line, and you look at the defense where a lot of these guys have played together for a really long time. This is a team that understands that 99.9% of games, they can just roll the ball out there and win because they're just naturally better than those teams. When it comes to the Chiefs, they're up here, and that's all they think about. And most of the time, all year long, it's not about beating the team that's in front of you. It's about playing a brand of football that's good enough to beat the Kansas City Chiefs come playoff time. So when you have so much investment investment into one team, when one team, one player, one coach lives in your mind rent-free, and again, you combine that with the fact that you know you got Josh Allen and you're probably going to win a lot of games just because of that alone, that creates complacency when it comes to playing teams that aren't the Chiefs or maybe not on your level like the Dolphins today. So I think that you're absolutely right. And again, being a part of that organization, I know it's all eyes on Kansas City at all times, and that provides opportunity for you to overlook the Miami Dolphins.
I wonder how this result would have been different if the Chiefs game came after this Dolphins game instead of before, like we saw last week. Nonetheless, Pete, I'll give you last word on the Bills. Is there any concern, I guess, with this team? Because when you go back and you look at their losses, they lost to the Patriots, and we're learning that the Patriots are a top team in this league. They also lost to the Falcons, and then today they lose handily. It's like the worst loss for Buffalo since 2011 against this team. Is there any concern for you with Buffalo that there might be a fall-off? Because they're your team to make it to the Super Bowl.
Well, there's a major concern. It's run defense. It's been a major concern all year long. You saw Achane go right through him today for 175 yards. They made calls during the trade deadline to try and get some. They called on Quinnen Williams. They couldn't get it done. The Jets wouldn't trade with him in the division. They need help in there. They need to get guys back. First and foremost, no Ed Oliver is big for them. Yeah. If they get guys back, and they'll start getting, maybe they get him back for the postseason. But the bottom line is teams have run on him. The Chiefs didn't. That's not who the Chiefs are. They didn't run on them last week. But teams that run the football are going to give them a lot of problems.
Let's go to the other side really quick. It kind of feels like the season is too far gone in Miami, but you have to think that like a win today, it does feel good. We did have Teron Armstead on the show earlier in the week, and he took the bold prediction. He did pick the Dolphins to upset the Bills today, so we need to give him his flowers there. But Jason, in terms of just the rest of the season, this is a team that's going to Spain next week. They're going to play in the first ever Spain game against the Commanders, an opportunity to win there potentially. Then they've got the Saints, the Jets, Steelers, Bengals, the list goes on. What did today's win, I guess, do for the morale of the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the morale has been pretty low over there. It's been quite the media circus, if we're being honest. Tua calling out teammates and things of that nature, not really what you want to see out of your leader. Normally, those kinds of things should be handled in-house, especially from your quarterback. If guys aren't coming up to meetings, or if you have a quarterback that's holding player-only meetings and players aren't showing up, and the players they don't respect you. So it's really not what you want to put out there in the meeting to begin with. Honestly, I didn't like that he did that. But point is, there's some culture issues here. I think it obviously starts with Mike McDaniels. I had my concerns of him becoming a head coach. I didn't think that he would have the heartbeat of a locker room. I didn't think that guys would really believe in him. Yes, he has his quirkiness. He's himself, this, that, and the third. But these are grown men we're talking about. And at the end of the day, we're going to war every Sunday. And if they can't look at their leader and feel like they're going to run through a brick wall for their leader and go to war, it's just not going to work out. So from that standpoint, it is what it is. I think they can continue to stack wins because at the end of the day, they got to figure out what they got on this roster. That's what the reality is. Most likely, this regime is probably going to be changing. It already has some changes this year already. So it's good for them. I'm glad that, Tua's getting back on a straight track. And let's see if they can, put some wins together for this year.
And on top of that, I mean, from the video that we just showed, the 2.5-minute video that we just showed from inside the locker room, winning brings people together.
Yep.
You want to talk about a culture, a team that has no culture, a locker room that's a little bit divided when you have a quarterback that comes out and calls players out and things of that nature. So all that to say, when you win, especially a game like this that you're probably not supposed to win, it gives you a feeling. It gives you a feeling of camaraderie. And like Mike McDaniel said, everything that we've been through was for moments like this. Let's remember it. Let's keep stacking them.
We're going to remember that when we are in Spain next week. I say we, it's me. I'm going to Spain.
Wow. Bailing on us, huh?
I am. I'm leaving you guys. But I'm going to bring you back gifts.
Okay.
We got to hit a break here at Game Day Recap. Producer Jack telling us we got to go. So we're going to hit a break. When we come back, though, we are talking Texans. A fourth quarter comeback for the ages. We're breaking it down next on Game Day Recap. The largest fourth quarter comeback in team history, I should say. They were 0-96 previously when trailing 15 or more points in the fourth quarter. We've seen a lot of fourth quarter rallying here, but Pete, when it comes to the Texans specifically, I feel like they're one of those teams that we really haven't decided what their identity is. So when you see them kind of rally today, the defense makes that big play at the end of the game. What did it tell you about the Texans right now?
It told me that the Jaguars choked away a game. That's what it told me. You're winning 29-10 against Davis Mills, and you lose that game by giving up 26 points in the fourth quarter. That should never happen. Yeah. Kudos to Davis Mills, because he made the plays when he needed to make the plays. It should never have happened. They should never have allowed that to happen. Jacksonville just stopped doing anything in the fourth quarter, and they allowed him to do that and go down the field and win the game. Hey, they fought the whole game. They could have packed it up. If they lost this game to Texans, they were done. Their schedule gets tough. I mean, not this week, but coming up, they got the Chiefs, they got the Bills, they have the Colts. I mean, they have a tough schedule coming up. So they have if they had lost this game, they were done. They saved their season today by winning that game. On the other side, Jacksonville wins this game. They're sitting at 6-3, and they're within striking distance of the Colts. Now they lose that game, they blow the game, and all of a sudden they're scrambling. So it's a big comeback without your quarterback to win that game the way they did it.
Look, I don't want to. I'm gonna get a little spicy here.
Wow.
It only took us about 40 minutes to get spicy with Jason. Let's go.
I just don't think we talk about it. Like, we don't talk about the Trevor Lawrence problem. When things go wrong with Trevor Lawrence, for some reason, somehow, somewhere, we find somewhere else to point besides the quarterback, besides the $100 million quarterback. We had Brock Purdy contract discussions, right? And we're talking so much. We keep talking about he's Mr. Irrelevant and where he's drafted. But a guy who's drafted in the first round that hasn't seemed to get his organization anywhere close to where it should be, who, when it was time for him to get extended, nobody said a word, nobody batted an eye. They gave the $100 million without even asking questions. When games like this happen, I don't understand. Why do we not point the finger at Trevor Lawrence? I'm just tired of it. Why?
Well, I mean, I can tell you why you didn't point it at him today, because it was 29-10 in the fourth quarter. He didn't give up 26 points in the fourth quarter. He didn't turn the ball over in key situations. This one wasn't on him. This one's on a defense that can't keep a backup quarterback from driving at 90 yards to go win the game. If you're facing a backup quarterback and you got them pinned in their own end and you have to hold them to not getting a touchdown to win the game, isn't that on the defense? Absolutely.
13 of 23,
he wasn't
158 yards, a touchdown, and an interception.
Manage the game.
First of all,
you're a hater because he beat you for a national
First of all, no, he's just not. He doesn't play like what he's worth. Now,
no, he doesn't.
Okay, that was going to be my only comment, because y'all two had y'all's back and forth. Now, you ain't been here before. I have made the same argument to Pete Prisco before. I have. So now, to be the mediator, like Mr. Rand Carthon usually is, I'm going to be the mediator.
Oh, is that your Rand?
Yeah, so has Trevor Lawrence played up to the billing of the contract that he signed for?
No, absolutely not.
That's it. That's all.
I'll be the first one to say it.
Okay, that's it.
There are concerns about Trevor Lawrence. No question about it.
And today, yes, they lost because of their defense, but there have been plenty of other games that if I went to handy dandy Google and looked up, we can point the blame on Trevor Lawrence.
I'm going to agree with you. He has not played close to that contract. I'll be honest with you. But today wasn't on him.
But it's even little things.
I mean, today he's throwing. Who's he throwing to today? He hasn't Travis Hunter, doesn't have Brian Thomas.
No Travis Hunter. I get it. But
what about Baker Mayfield? When we always talk about his depleted wide receiver.
Well, he and Baker Mayfield, that's for sure.
All right.
About that.
The paths are different, though. Both #1 overall picks. One had to fight for his resurgence. One hasn't won and hasn't even been put in that position. That's the double standardness I'm talking about when it comes to Trevor Lawrence.
I like this guy.
It's just
look at all the spice we've got here.
He's just mad. Trevor Lawrence took his national title.
I got 2 national championships.
Yeah, but you're mad about it.
No. I got 2. Hey, I played in 4. I got 2. Listen, I made my hay. You know, Trevor Lawrence, he did his thing. They were the first class to go 15-0. Respect to him. But he don't play like a $200 million quarterback. That's all I'm saying.
No, he does not.
I think we can all agree to that point, that the value maybe for Trevor Lawrence doesn't always match the statistics. So we will leave it at there. I do want to talk about the Colts because they are the team atop the AFC at the moment. There's a lot of good statistics when it comes to this Colts team. It's their best 10-game start since going 10-0 back in 2009 when they last went to the Super Bowl. They take down a Falcons team in overtime. For me, Damien, as our running back on set here, I feel like we can't talk about the Colts without talking about Jonathan Taylor. And I know you're going to give him his flowers, and I want you to do that. I want you to contextualize, though, the run that he is on. He goes for over 200 yards. On the broadcast today as well, this is kind of what I want you to react to. On the broadcast today, they shared that Jonathan Taylor trains in the offseason like he's going to get 300 touches a season. Talk to me about what that looks like and how you're seeing that benefit on the field this year?
Well, when you talk about preparing for 300 carries in a game, you are saying, I am the offense. Come hell or high water, I am going to be the guy. I don't care about Indiana Jones. I don't care about Michael Pittman. I am the guy. So I am going to train my body, my mental, my spiritual, emotional, everything. I'm going to train to take on the workload and be the entire offense all season long. So the mentality that you have to have, the physical requirements that you have to put your body through in order to get ready for that, like the training alone for what Jonathan Taylor does is special. And then, obviously, it correlates to the field. You want me to contextualize all of this, Haley? I'll say this. I'll be the guy to go out there and say a hot take. Jonathan Taylor, when it's all said and done, is going to go down as one of the best running backs to play this game. And you go back to his career at Wisconsin, and you want to talk about he getting himself ready for 300 carries. He averaged about 30 totes a game every year of college. Then he gets to the NFL. He still averaged about 30 totes a game. And every year, it's 200 yards here, 250 and 3 touchdowns here, 175 and 2 touchdowns here. Every single night. It doesn't matter who's in an offensive line. It don't matter who's in a quarterback. It doesn't matter anything other than the fact of Jonathan Taylor is mentally and physically ready to go. And it shows, ladies and gentlemen. He has the entire running back package. There's nothing in the running back toolbox that he can't do. Yep. Speed, size, physicality, catching out of the backfield, top end speed, patience in the hole, running through the hole, and then on the last touchdown, he showed a little pop, making a man miss, Jesse Bates, very qualified safety, making a miss in a phone booth to walk into the end zone untouched for his 3rd touchdown of the day, capping off a 240-yard day. He's the best in the business. And just like we're talking about Drake Maye, Sam Darnold, Jonathan Taylor, he's in the MVP conversation too.
Little mic drop there. Good luck following that.
Went off. No, I mean, you're right. He's having like a LaDainian Tomlinson type of effect to an offense. Like, that's the best way I can put it. I mean, he's making everyone's life around easier. I mean, you look at Daniel Jones and what he's doing. I mean, I was ready to put Daniel Jones in the quarterback graveyard. I'm not going to lie. I was one of those guys.
Sitting right next to the right
guys, you know, fairly so. And, you know, and to see how much easier he's making a guy like Daniel Jones' job. I mean, he at some point, we might talk about Daniel Jones as an MVP candidate, the way he's playing, as much as like, and maybe like worst to first, but that's just what it looks like. Now, obviously, there are other characters. There's guys like Tyler Warren, my goodness. Tyler Warren's becoming like Daniel Jones' best friend right now. 8 catches, 100 yards today. He's doing it consistently each and every single week. That's what I loved about Tyler's game in college. They put him anywhere and everywhere, whether it's in the slot, whether it's outside, lined up as fullback, lined up as a wing tight end. And this Colts coach is also finding those same ways to use Tyler, and the onus is on him from a mental standpoint to be able to handle that many positions, but the production that they're getting out of it and the looks that they're be able to show defenses to get him open right now and scheme him up, really impressive stuff.
Where'd Tyler Warren go to school?
Penn State, baby.
Where'd you go to school?
We are. Penn State.
There you go.
You know.
There, see, he knows all about Tyler Warren.
Connections.
So you're not going to call him a homer?
He's a homer, too.
Oh, okay, thank you.
He's a homer, too.
I just want to make sure everybody got treated fairly.
Tyler Warren is leading all tight ends.
Tyler Warren's darn good. And Shane Steichen is really good. Shane Steichen can scheme up ball plays. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Jonathan Taylor for a second. You mentioned the carries. Last week in the loss, he had 4 carries on the first 3 possessions of that game.
That's why they lost.
That's why they lost the game. They got away from who they were. They saw the Steelers had troubles on the pass defense, and they said, we're going to go in there, and we're going to throw, and we're going to attack that. They got away from who they are. Everything they do is predicated on Jonathan Taylor carrying the football. Now, if he continues to carry the ball 36 times a game, that's going to be a problem. They got to cut that down a little bit. Yeah, believe me, we've seen these running backs. You know where they go? They go off the cliff, right off the cliff. You can't carry 36 times and carry 350 times consistently year in and year out because it's not. You can't stay the same. You just can't.
Did you not hear his whole rant?
He has done it.
This dude went to Wisconsin.
Go back and look at history.
Okay.
Go back and look at history.
Let's go back and look at history. Let's go back and look at history. But let's count the years between Jonathan Taylor's NFL career and his career at Wisconsin, how many years that's been, and see how many running backs have been able to do that. Not many. He's different. Like, it's okay to sit here and say he is different.
For now.
There's some guys
For
that just
now.
got it. I'll give you an example. I played with AP late in his career when AP got to Detroit. And AP would still finish every run in training camp. I'm not joking. To the end zone. It didn't matter if we were on a 10-yard line or the 50, finish in the end zone. There are guys who have some physical traits that are just God-given.
If you look at guys who have a ton of carries in their career, there's a real correlation to when you, at some point, you go off the cliff. You got to be careful.
And there are
Is Derrick Henry going off the cliff this year? He hasn't done much.
Show our guest Jason how you feel about running back.
You pull one off and put him in. You run. I mean, by the way, I would do the exact same thing to Jonathan Taylor. I run him in the ground. I grab another one, put him in, and let him.
Well, guess what? You can't run him into the ground because he's built for the carries.
Yes.
And he's shown it year after year after year after year after year.
3 or 4 years from now, you'll be talking to me. You go, God, Jonathan Taylor's not the same guy. Why? Because they carried too many.
What year do you want him to be the same guy? Year 10, 11?
Yeah. So in year 12, when he's capped as a running back.
10-year guy yet.
Okay, so you just said how many years?
How many years can he play?
Yeah, you just said let's check back in how many years.
How many years? We give him 8.
Okay,
total.
he's already in year 5 now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got
three
more years. You're going to carry that. You're going to carry 36 times, 350 times a year.
Wisconsin's what he did.
I don't think.
Jonathan Taylor, the first player in NFL history.
I don't see it.
Not yet. It happens.
We're going to end this. I'm going to give Jonathan Taylor his flowers. He is the first player in NFL history with 15-plus rushing touchdowns and 6 or more yards per rush in his first 10 games of a season. Doesn't seem like he's slowing down anytime soon.
No,
but
not yet.
We'll reevaluate this in like 3 years. We'll bookmark this. I'll call all of you guys.
He's the best running back in the NFL right now. And there's no debate about it.
We'll leave it there. Real quick before we go to break, thumbs up or thumbs down? How are we feeling about the Falcons on the other side of this one?
Done.
Done.
Dig the hole, start burying them. They're done.
Not a great performance today. No. All right, got to hit a break here on Game Day Recap. I love having these conversations with these guys, bringing the heat. When we come back, we're talking Lions and Tigers and Bears. Just kidding, we're talking Lions and Bears, both picking up big wins today. We're breaking it down next on Game Day Recap. The Bears would walk away with the win in this one. It snaps a 25-game losing streak when trailing by 10 or more points in the fourth quarter. The Bears have been a lot of fun. I believe they've won 5 of their last 6 over the last couple of weeks or so. They get back on track after the weird game that was last week. Pete, how are we feeling about the Bears and what Caleb Williams has been able to do in this second year, specifically what you saw out of them today?
Well, it's slowed down for him. He's still a little frenetic at times. And look, he could turn a play where you get in the pocket and you're supposed to go 1, 2, 3 and get the ball out. And you go, oh, wait, he didn't throw it to 3 or he didn't get to 3. But there he goes out the back door and he spins around and runs for 40 yards. I mean, that's what he is. And that's what he's going to be for a while until it does slow down even more for him. But I think all his fast-paced, frenetic style has kind of just slowed a tad. And that's a good thing. He's getting better. And I give Ben Johnson a lot of credit for that. Defensively, they worry me a little bit. There's some flaws there. But give Ben Johnson credit. This team's in right smack dab in the middle of the playoff race, and not a lot of people thought that would be the case.
Talk to me about the division race as well, because we won't see the Packers play until tomorrow. But who would have thought it would be the Packers and the Bears, Jason, kind of jawing up there at the top. The Vikings are in there, too, although they didn't play very well today.
Yeah, and I think the Bears are a really dangerous team. I mean, I said this earlier about Ben Johnson and the effect that I thought he would bring to Chicago. I think you look at what Ben did in Detroit this year 1, and Jared did not look very good at all, but the year 2, they took quite the jump. And I think when you look at what's happening right now with the Chicago Bears and that offense and Caleb Williams and the growth is really that when you take a Jared Goff and you take a Caleb Williams, one of them has more margin of error. Caleb gives you that margin of error. He has more traits that erase mistakes that Jared Goff just doesn't have. In terms of being able to extend the play, in terms of being able to use legs, in terms of being able to make what maybe one quarterback would have a negative play and turn it into a positive, Caleb has that. And even today, there were some drops that happened on offensively where Caleb threw some balls where I was like, oh, wow. There are steps being taken forward. Like you said, he's not playing as speedy. He's playing more in the system. There's a dig route that he hit to Rome Odunze in the third quarter today where it was just the last part of the progression. And the offensive line's playing better, so he can stay there in that pocket. So I'm loving what I'm seeing out of him. I'm loving the way he's handling the pre-snap stuff. Because when you talk about Ben Johnson's offense, that's probably the most complicated part. You go into that huddle with a lot. You're going to have 2 or 3 plays sometimes going to that huddle. Quarterback has to handle a lot of movement, a lot of motions. He's handling all that stuff really, really well.
And when you, in totality, to encompass all of this, what you said, what Pete said, it's just about buy-in. These players have bought into Ben Johnson's system.
Yep.
I mean, Caleb Williams, he's obviously a byproduct of that. But DeAndre Swift is playing better. Rome Odunze is finally getting his touches, getting his catches, getting in the end zone. So when you look at this, I mean, even defensively, they're starting to come along. They're starting to play better, led by Tremaine Edmonds. Like, they're starting to figure it out. And it's because they've bought into what Ben Johnson has said. And his method is tried and true. We saw what he did in Detroit. We saw what he was able to do with a less mobile quarterback, less explosive playmaker. And just that buy-in piece is so important. Like you talked about Mike McDaniels earlier and like winning over a locker room. Yep. Ben Johnson has won this locker room over. Yep. They're following him, and they're getting better each and every week.
It certainly feels that way. And he's been so creative as well with the play calling. It really feels like Caleb is comfortable. Pete, I'll give you last word here real quick on the other side with Jackson Dart specifically. We've had the conversation where he just plays a little too reckless. He's putting his body on the line, and today we saw him leave in the third quarter with a concussion. It's not the first time this year that Jackson's been in that situation where an injury has sort of impacted his ability to play. Where's your concern level with Jackson and the Giants?
Yeah, it's going to slow down for him, too. His is 1-2 and get out. I mean, that's where he is right now. But ironically, the injury really didn't happen when he was running. It happened inside the pocket. He got blasted inside the pocket. So, look, there was growth there today. I think if you're a Giants, I've said this earlier in the year, if you're a Giants fan, you're going to lose these games sometimes. But you're winning because you have him. And I think you see progress with him. He's getting better and better. And I think there should be optimism because of that.
He just got to keep himself on the damn field.
Yeah, but that was in the pocket, though.
Well, yes, but.
But you're right. He's reckless.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's reckless.
Yeah. I think reckless is a good word. He's also just very daring. Like, it's very rare you see a rookie quarterback come in and he's really, really willing to push the field vertically and aggressively at that level that he does. That's just rare. He's not scared at all. Now, there's going to be mistakes that come out of that, but it's also a good sign. I think that's why the new energy in this offense feels so good, because they have that in a young guy like this. So
yeah, he brings that edge. It's sad. We talked about Cam Scatterbo a few weeks ago. Let's talk about the Lions and the Commanders. This really one wasn't much to take in today. It was a beatdown from the Lions standpoint. Something that we talked about, though, Jason, the play calling. Dan Campbell took over some offensive play calling today. You noticed it as well when we were prepping in. What did you make of the Lions today, and specifically that change with Dan Campbell on the headset?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing when I've been watching this offense over the last few weeks is there hasn't been as much rhythm as flow as we're normally used to seeing in this Detroit Lions offense. And I think today there's just a lot more rhythm. There's more routine. Things were built off each other. I think one thing that Ben did so well when he was in Detroit is he built pictures throughout the game, and he showed certain stuff in the beginning of the game. He made everything look the same. You see them doing it still in Chicago. And I thought Detroit just got back to that. I thought the play action was married really well with the run game. The run was also going very well. Jahmyr Gibbs, I mean, they had about 212 yards, I think, today, offensively rushing. They've averaged 125 on the year. So when you have the run game going the way that they did, the pass protection looked better today. I know they're still figuring some stuff out. Coyote's working in there. Graham's working that center. Tate Rutledge and Panay still getting that chemistry together. So there's things going on from that standpoint, but they're growing. They got back on track today, and it was a revenge game at the end of the day.
I'm glad you mentioned the running game and Jahmyr Gibbs, because I would like to ask a question. Jahmyr Gibbs, RB2 in the NFL right now, behind Jonathan Taylor?
I think he's in the conversation.
No doubt about it. In the conversation? I say absolutely. Yeah. Jahmyr Gibbs is lightning in a bottle. He's like Lamar Jackson at running back. This dude is sensational. Let me ask you something, Pete Prisco. You know who has the record, the franchise record for the Detroit Lions for the most games with, I think it's over 100 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 1 receiving touchdown. Do you know who it is?
Is it Jahmyr Gibbs?
It ain't Barry Sanders. It's Jahmyr Gibbs. He's the second best running back in the National Football League. And what he does for this team, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, when you've got a field full of playmakers, you've got a quarterback who's experienced and done a lot of things well, when you have a spark like Jahmyr Gibbs, like we talked about it, the way he accelerates from 0 to 100 like that, and a team full of superstars, he's the one consistent. Every time he touches the ball, everybody in the stadium, home team, away team, it don't matter. Jahmyr Gibbs is that dude. Let's give him his flowers that he deserves.
Where did Jahmyr Gibbs go to school?
He went to Alabama.
And guess what? They turn him out. Them Bama running backs.
Yeah, some of them are actually pretty good. I'm kidding. By the way, can we never, ever, ever mention him in the same sentence with Barry Sanders, please? Come on. Let's not do that.
Well, the numbers did.
I don't care what the numbers are. Javid Best was in that group, too. He's not the same. He's a great back. Barry Sanders might be the best runner who ever played the game, ever.
They're different
ever.
backs, though, too.
They are different.
Yeah,
but you know what he is? He's the prototypical airback for the modern game. That's who he is. I call him the airback. You get him out in space, you can run. He's a better runner between the tackles than people gave him credit for coming out of
100%.
Alabama.
Absolutely.
I love what they did. Having said all that, they played a 7-on-7 against air today. That's what they played. That defense is putrid. It's putrid. It's one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. They could talk about Jaden Daniels not being there. It doesn't matter. As long as if he can't play corner, that defense is awful. They're terrible on defense. They've gotten old. They have nobody who can rush the passer, and they have Toast Lattimore on the back end. They are bad back there.
Toast, man. They are toast. Okay, let's.
Yeah, he's out, but I'm saying all year.
I was going to say, I don't think he's playing.
He wasn't there
the rest of
today,
the
but I'm
season.
saying all year he's been the toast of that defense all year.
Oh, I got to get my napkins out.
It doesn't matter. They can't rush the passer, and he all year long he was the toast of the town. That guy. And
Toast Lattimore.
remember they traded to go get him. They have problems. They have big problems.
Jack is also saying that Tutu Atwell is on IR.
Yeah, but they have big problems. They have big problems on the defensive side of the ball.
They do.
We're going to try to get back on track.
They do. I mean, and you want to talk about having problems on defense. We saw a lack of discipline from a lot of these guys on this Washington defense. I mean, we saw a guy get ejected. We saw another guy potentially could have gotten ejected. He had a little bit of a confrontation with the refs. So outside of just calling people toast and talking about how they get burnt, there is a lack of discipline on top of the fact that they just don't play fundamentally sound defense as well.
I was not prepared for toast. I'm sorry.
Every week we've called him that.
Not on this program.
Yeah, we have. Rand always looks at me and gives me that look.
Maybe
Come
that's
on.
why I missed it. All right, real quick. Let's talk about a team who we thought was toast, but all of a sudden they've turned it up. The Ravens have now won 3 straight, having started 1-5. And this is kind of the conversation with this team. When Lamar Jackson is healthy, when the defense is healthy, this is a team that you can't count out. Damien, when you look at what the Ravens are doing, and their upcoming schedule is pretty favorable as well, too. Is this Ravens team a playoff team?
Yes,
That's what
they
I
are.
want to know.
They are. When you have Lamar Jackson, when you have that defense playing the way that it is, led by Roquan Smith, the secondary is playing better. This is absolutely a playoff team. Now, they dug themselves a hole early in the season. Lamar missed some time, which obviously didn't help. But having him back and having the defense clicking on all cylinders and still getting better, that automatically increases your chances. And let's be honest, a healthy Ravens team, nobody wants to see them in the playoffs.
Yeah, as long as you got Ocho on your team, you got a chance. He's that level of talent. He's that level of good. He's their leader. You have Derrick Henry back there, King Henry. He's still doing his thing. Although he's been in the league some time, he's still doing his thing. Yeah, we can agree with that, right? Yeah, Derrick Henry is still like that. He's still that guy.
Up until this year, anyways.
And the identity of that offense is running the football. That's what they do. That's who the Ravens are. They are physical. They're getting back to their brand of football. Defensively, they've had some issues. I don't know what happened with the Jair Alexander, trade, why that didn't really work out, things of that nature. But they're coming back. Marlon Humphrey's maybe a little bit less on the media and saying a little less on the podcast.
Put them glizzies down.
Lamar's taking the pool table and the ping pong table out the locker room. You know what time it is when that kind of stuff happens. So I think they're getting back on track, getting back to who they need to be.
And the schedule's favorable.
Yeah,
Let's be
really
real.
Is.
I mean, you look.
Browns, Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals again.
Yeah, they have a real chance to make the real push here. By the way, Derrick Henry had 75 yards on 20 carries today, so under 4 yards a carry. So that's not exactly lighting things up at the running back position. But I'm with you. As long as Lamar Jackson's healthy on that field, they should be the team to beat in that division. It's just they dug such a deep hole. It's going to be hard to come out from underneath it. One misstep and they're going to have a problem.
It feels like the conversation that we had basically post-trade deadline last year with the Bengals and Joe Burrow, where it was like we knew that Joe Burrow is special and that this team could make a push, but they couldn't because they dug themselves a little too deep. Really quick on the other side of this one, when it comes to the Vikings, I know J.J. McCarthy is still coming along.
You talking about 9?
9.
9.
Yeah, the quarterback 9.
Yeah.
Why did you?
That's his nickname, 9. That's his alter ego. You haven't seen it?
I thought I said something wrong.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Mid-time joke.
9. Okay, I'll refer to him as 9 now. Oh, you scared me, David.
No, sorry.
Nonetheless, when you look at 9, the quarterback, it hasn't necessarily been fireworks. We have seen moments where he's done some pretty cool things. He got the game ball a few weeks back. But something that we talked about earlier is this Vikings quarterback room a year ago. When J.J. McCarthy was out, they had Daniel Jones and they also had Sam Darnold in that quarterback room. Jason, I guess looking ahead here, you can't really predict what kind of season J.J. McCarthy was going to have this year. Do you think at any moment this coaching staff, this team, when you look at how Sam Darnold is playing, when you look at how Daniel Jones is playing, do you think at any moment there's some regrets that they moved on from either of those guys?
No, I don't think there's regret now. I mean, when you looked at this offseason and the whole circus around the quarterback position, nobody was getting signed. Like, it was very clear they were going chips all in on J.J. McCarthy. Like, that was very clear. So I wanted to see what that looked like. And, you know, when I look at J.J. McCarthy, when I see the swagger, the moxie he plays with, when I saw him in that final drive against the Lions to put the dagger in him on a 3rd down, and he ends up throwing the big box fade. Are you kidding me? On a back shoulder throw? A rookie? He's basically a rookie to me. I look at it and know he's second year, but this is really his rookie year.
Yep.
He was hurt last year, things of that nature. When I see those type of throws and him having that kind of confidence to do that in Ford Field, that's when I'm like, all right, let's see how this plays out. I feel good about it.
Yeah, and on top of that, Kevin O'Connell has proved he's a quarterback whisperer.
Yep.
I mean, you've got a young guy, the guy that you wanted. You went out and spent some heavy draft capital on him. Let your coach, who's Kevin O'Connell, let him mold this young project that is J.J. McCarthy. And if you just give it time, listen, Rome was not built in one day. They're going to figure it out.
You think they regret not having Sam Darnold?
I just wonder if you look and you see what he has been able to do with the Seahawks team. It's like he hasn't missed a beat. And I get it. To your point, they went all in on J.J. McCarthy. They traded up for him. They knew that he was going to be the quarterback. But I just wonder, we talked about Sam Darnold as an MVP not 20 minutes ago. What
you know who else they had on that team, too? Daniel Jones was on that team,
That's
too.
what I said. So are there, in your opinion, do you think there's a little regret there?
Yeah, well, they tried to keep Daniel Jones, and he made a decision he wanted to go somewhere. He saw the handwriting on the wall that they probably wanted to start J.J. McCarthy. He wanted to go somewhere where he could compete. Yeah. And he saw Anthony Richardson. He goes, oh, I'm going to go compete. And I'm going to win that job. And I'm going to win that job. And so, I mean, can you blame the guy? Can you blame him? I mean, he made the right decision. So I understand. Look, you can't fault him for that. But as far as Sam Darnold, I mean, I probably would have looked at that after what happened last year. You know what happened, though? At the end of last year, Sam Darnold had 2 bad games.
Yeah,
he did. And it probably put it in the back of their minds, maybe we can get better than this. And the reality is they're not close to being better. One thing J.J. McCarthy has to do is settle his feet down. He throws so many passes where he's jumping or leaping or whatever. I don't even know what it is. I haven't seen quarterback played like that since last Thursday, Bo Nix. But, I mean, the bottom line is these young quarterbacks all have to set their feet to throw, and they don't.
Good thing we don't have to talk about Bo Nix today. That game was atrocious. J.J. McCarthy, by the way, his first game with over 200 passing yards today in his career. And to your point, Jason, he's only played in 4 career games from start to finish. So, yeah,
but you remember the opener, though? He let him back, and everybody's, oh, he's great, he's great. Just him, who needs him? And the reality is the NFL, as you guys know, slaps you right smack in the face.
Humbles you.
I was just getting ready to say it humbles you. Well, we're keeping our eye on 9. Now that I know that's his nickname, I'm not in trouble. We're going to keep it pushing there. Let's hit a break here on Game Day Recap. Still plenty to talk about as we push ahead. Are the Jets streaking or what? Don't call it a comeback. They've now made it 2 in a row thanks to special teams and some really bad Browns play. We're breaking it down next on Game Day Recap. Back here on Game Day Recap, don't call it a comeback. After failing to pick up a win through the first 7 weeks of the season, the Jets have now rallied to make it 2 straight. I will mention that they currently have a top 5 pick in the upcoming draft, so that is something to keep our eye on there. But that doesn't matter. Gang Green getting their first home win this year as well. Feeling good. First back-to-back dub since way early last season. So things feeling like they're trending in the right direction for the Jets. But Jason, to your point, something that you mentioned earlier, this was a special teams game because Justin Fields didn't really do much to help the effort on offense.
Yeah, I mean, stat line, when I saw it, I almost didn't believe it. 6 for 11.
You didn't believe it. You didn't believe it. You didn't.
I saw the stat line. I was watching a bunch of games at the same time. I saw the stat line. I said, okay, so Jay Fields got hurt, right? Like concussion? Like what happened?
Nope.
You guys looked at me and said that was a full game stat. So I don't know what to say about that. But what I will say is 2 special teams touchdowns, a team who's dying for some wins, dying to feel some culture and get them believing how Chicago's starting to believe in Ben. That's huge for them. That's what I'll say for the New York Jets today. I'm not saying they beat a big juggernaut in the Browns. We know what's going on over there. But it's huge for them regardless. They're finding ways to win. And I think that's the biggest thing. In this league, it's so hard to win. Like, it doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter if it's 10-7, how it looked like today with the Saints. Like, it doesn't matter. If you can go out there and just go win and find a way, and that they're starting to do that. I hope it continues to trend the right direction. They're getting rid of some players. Some players are gone now. Sauce Gardner. They got 2 first-round picks for him. Is that an overpay? Probably.
Yes.
I'm very surprised that they got
Absolutely.
2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. I don't think we've seen that for a corner in general. But they're going to have some pieces, some draft capital. Let's see what they can do.
You know what? This is a perfect example, though. All week, all we heard was, oh, my brothers left. How dare they? And everybody's like, oh, the Jets players are going to be decimated. Their brothers left. No, it's a perfect reality of what is important in the NFL. Yourself. You go play. And if everybody plays, your team plays well. If you don't play, your team's not going to play well, period. You care about the guy. You care about your teammates. It's nice. Hey, my teammate. He goes out the window. You go play. That's your job. And I think the Jets showed that today. They weren't pretty. It was ugly. It was an ugly game. You know how many passes they completed to wide receivers in the game? 3. For how many yards? 4, 3, and 1. 3 passes for 7 yards to the wide receivers, and they won the game.
So stay there with me. We actually have a full screen from 1973, Pete, where the Jets, I'm told, Jack, you said they didn't throw a single offensive pass here. No passing yards, and yet they won the game in 1973 against the Patriots. How does that happen?
Run the ball. Run the ball. They didn't even do that very well today. It was all special teams. But they found a way. And to me, look, like you said, the Browns aren't a good team. Their offense is very limited as well. But they found a way to win a game. And by the way, 42 yards came on a screen pass to Bryce Hall.
Jack was saying that you're at that 1973 game.
I was 13 back then, but I might have been.
Good memory, you and Pops.
Yeah.
Now, I'm glad that, I think it was you talked about the screen to Bryce Hall. I know that was his one reception for 42 yards, but talking about trying to find ways to win, and you need your guys who were there that you drafted, that you went out and got to be cornerstone pieces. You need them to show up in moments like this. Bryce Hall, he had over 100 yards. 83 rushing, 42 receiving, a touchdown. He was a big factor in this game. And again, guys like him, guys like Garrett Wilson, Sauce before they got rid of him, those are your cornerstone pieces. You need them to play like that. Bryce Hall did that today, and he helped part of winning.
But they traded away 2 of those cornerstone pieces, Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, and
because they became invaluable. Next man up.
They're gone.
Or the draft capital they got is too valuable.
Yeah,
too valuable.
Because you got to realize the players who are there, they're not their players. Me and you have been through this. We know how it is when a coach gets fired. Like, everybody's in tryout mode right now. That's what it looks like. Everyone's in tryout mode. Everyone's auditioning on a daily freaking basics. That's how you play. That's how you are in the building. That's how your habits are. Everyone's constantly evaluating to see, are you somebody who I feel like is doing this right now? Because that's what the NFL loves. Are you doing this or are you doing this? With a new regime, you got to look like this because that's what's going to keep us around. So that's just the reality. That's why Aaron Rodgers was gone. That's the reason why they got rid of him, and it went down the way it went down because that's just the reality. So they're in tryout mode right now. Every single person in that building.
Is that why they got rid of Toast Gardner?
No, but you saw I got toast today.
That's why they got rid of him.
Yeah. You get 2 first-round picks for a corner. That's stealing.
Yeah, no.
I said it the other day.
They did absolutely
I said it the other day. I had a video the other day that went viral because I called it robbery, and they robbed them.
Highway.
Yeah.
All right. What about the Saints? Was it robbery that they were able to take down the Panthers? I'm mad at the Panthers, by the way, because they put us in their hype video. They took our Panthers love that we had on our show last week, and they put it in their hype video, and then they went out there and they scored 7 points. So I wish I should have made them my loser.
We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
Well, you know what happened? The quarterback became the quarterback again. Look, let's be real. Bryce Young is just a guy, and they can talk all they want about getting them wide receivers and getting the running game going and everything else. He completed 17 passes, I think, for 124 yards today. That means the ball's not going down the field. He's a dinker and a dunker. He's not playing very well. And if you score only that many points against that defense, that's a bad showing for your offense. And I'm worried about it. I'm worried about that offense. You mentioned it, we started pumping them up a little bit. Physical, they can run the ball, they play good defense, they go to Green Bay. And by the way, Green Bay, you should be embarrassed by that loss. Mm-hmm. But you go to Green Bay, you beat them, and then you come home and you lose to the Saints?
You are who you are.
That's right?
Yeah, you are.
You know.
And even piggybacking off of that Bryce Young conversation, I remember we called Bryce at Alabama, we called him Bryce Magic. Now, obviously, he had a plethora of guys that were a lot more talented than the guys that he's playing with right now. But you just saw that spark, the way that he created, the way that he made made plays, the way he extended plays and used his legs and became a +1 in the running game, like he was always doing something, finding a way to make the team better. I just haven't seen that from Bryce Young. And I've been complimentary of him because he's kept his head in there. He's continued to fight. He's continued to scratch and claw to be the starting quarterback of an NFL team. But again, when you lose your superpower, because again, he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he doesn't have the best arm. When you don't have all of those things, you got to have that Bryce magic that you had in Alabama, and it's just completely disappeared.
Well, and to your point, this is his 7th consecutive game throwing for under 200 yards, and so you're not going to. I mean, 7 consecutive
17
games.
completions for 124 yards. I mean, that's terrible.
What does that tell you about next year then? I don't know what his contract situation is off the top of my head, but what does that tell you about?
He's going to get the rest of the year to prove what he can be. I think they got at least give him the rest of the year, see what he is, and find out if he can be their guy. By the way, the other guy on the other side threw for 282 yards and 2 touchdowns. And by the way, he might be 30 years old or whatever he is, but he can throw rifle shots down the field. I mean, he has the big arm and can stand in there and make the throws. They should be encouraged, the Saints, by what they saw from Tyler Shuck today. And the flip side of that is they got to be concerned in Carolina. And everybody will say, oh, you're always piling on Bryce Young. No, I'm not. You went to Alabama. You know you were with them. You're concerned about him in Carolina. You?
Yeah, I think the thing with Bryce Young, and I hate when we get in these kind of scenarios of players where, to me, it feels more like a fit or like a lack of confidence. Like there's certain things that I saw on film that he does at times that he did at Alabama that we crowned him as good as he was, from the quick release aspect, from extending the plays, the pinpoint accuracy. Like there's too many good traits that you love about him. When I see a player not displaying them, or at least not being able to display them in a consistent way, the one thing or the two things that I look at is, one, is this kid being pumped with the confidence that he can go out there and play the way he's capable of playing? And then 2, it's coaching. It's got to be one or the other, because the skill level is there. I don't think he's not a good player and things of that nature. He has traits that are too good where the results aren't really backing it up and showing.
Second regime for him as a coach. You know, he had Frank Reich, and everybody thought he was the greatest offensive mind. And,
yeah, I think it's the confidence, but why is the question?
So you just made the point.
Yeah, no, I think it's coaching, and I just think it's organizationally. Like I'm not going to speak French. I have heard for many years, going back to my playing days, Carolina is not a first-class organization from the way that they run things from the top. I'm talking ownership all the way to the bottom. This is not your first-class organization. So, again, it is coaching, but I do think in part it's just the Carolina organization as a whole.
It's okay to say it's the player, too. It is okay.
I was going to say, do you think that this team can win? Because we got to go. We got to hit a break. Do you think this team can win with Bryce Young as their quarterback? If all of the things align how they need to.
The answer to that question is no.
Do you believe so, Jason? Can this team win with Bryce? Can this team win with Bryce?
Biggest indicator.
It has a lot to what he said, though. Losing culture is so hard to turn around. Like, it's so hard. Like he said, it trickles down from the top. Like, if there's no intentional effort to change things at the very, very top, where everything else can trickle down, where things are going and everything is married together and working together in the same direction, it's just hard to win.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly is. And you can't do it, to Pete's point, when you're throwing for 124 yards as the quarterback. All right, time to hit our final break here on Game Day Recap. Time for winners and losers. I'll give you one guess who picked Travion Henderson as their winner this year.
Oh, my God.
I wonder.
Oh, my God. Let me pull the knife out of my side. Holy shit. Coming from.
Final few minutes here on Game Day Recap. It is time to play Winners and Losers, where we either take the low-hanging fruit, according to our Pete Prisco, or we do our hard research and decide who really deserves to be a winner and a loser. We get started, as always, with our good friend Pete Prisco. Pete, who's your winner?
The Seattle Seahawks defense. I mean, Seattle fans think I hate them for some reason.
They do.
Maybe it dates back to when I used to rip Russell Wilson and the Legion of Boom, 2/4 of them block me on Twitter, but that's a whole nother story. Look, the bottom line is that defense is nasty. And a couple weeks ago, a guy in the league told me, he goes, watch out for Seattle, it might be the best team in the league. I go, why? He goes, not just Sam Darnold, that defense. That defensive front today, 2 defensive touchdowns. DeMarcus Lawrence had both of them, 5 sacks. They just brutalized Jacoby Brissett. They're for real, and next week, I can't wait to see him against Matt Stafford and the Rams.
For me, it's Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears organization. What Ben Johnson is doing over there is absolutely amazing. Now, when I talk about culture and changing culture, Chicago's been losing for quite a long time now. For them to be believing and they're winning games in the way that they're winning, they're playing inspired. Like, it took Dan a long time in Detroit. It took about a season and a half to get that belief factor in. He's already won the locker room. They're already there. Ben's got more to work with in a quarterback like Caleb Williams, who I said earlier can extend plays, can do more than a Jared Goff, that's got just some pure talent things that just Jared doesn't have. These things are starting to mesh. They're starting to really click on all kinds of levels. I think Chicago is going to be one of the most dangerous teams in the league moving forward. They've got the spark. They've got that belief factor. You know how big belief factor is.
Come on now.
They've got that.
Spicy.
They got it. Okay. I like this guy, man. This guy coming in ready to go. Listen, Haley already spilled the beans. I'm going with Travion Henderson as my winner of the week. Not only did he go for 14 carries and 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, he sealed the game, and he sealed his fate as RB1 of the New England Patriots. I remember I got asked on this show not this show in particular, but a couple days ago, is it time for Travion Henderson to be RB1? He proved today it's his role.
I'm going with a different RB1, Jonathan Taylor. We talked about him earlier, just the best running back that this league has to this point right now. He's doing things that are out of this world. So that is my winner today, Jonathan Taylor. The loser, I already said this, the Panthers. You let me down. I was so excited to be a part of the hype video. I led the hype video, and then you guys went out there and put up 7 points. So don't put me in the hype video again.
Loser for me, Brian Daboll. I mean, the Giants had the lead today. Jackson Dart gets hurt. You're already down Cam Scatterboot. Your job is literally hanging on the balance of these two guys. You lose your quarterback today, you end up losing the game. Brian Daboll, I'm sorry. You're my loser.
You guys heard me earlier. Losers, Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. You can't let it happen. That kind of comeback in the fourth quarter, it just can't happen. You're better than that. We're waiting to see this step up, get over this hump. We're talking about all the same exact things with the Jacksonville Jaguars, time and time again. We're just pointing in different spots each and every time. So, Jaguars.
And mine are the Buffalo Bills. And look, the most demoralizing thing you can have happen to you in the NFL is to get run on consistently. And it's been a problem year in and year out, and it's still a problem. 174 yards today for Devin Achane, and that should never happen. If they don't stop the run, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. I don't care what Josh Allen does.
And that is your Super Bowl pick, just so that we're all clear this week. That Pete did pick the Bills to win the Super Bowl. That's going to do it for Week 10 edition of Game Day Recap. Everyone, a round of applause to our friend Jason.
Ran who?
Hey, You're just kidding. Ran, we will be excited to see you next week.
Ran.
Tommy Tran will be in the seat next week driving the ship.
They're going to be on the beach somewhere.
España. I will see you guys in 2 weeks, and we will see you next week on Game Day Recap.